strawberry and chocolates, oysters, do they impact your sexual health?
Like, if my partner's putting out strawberries and chocolates, I know he's in the mood for something, or, he's kind of indicating or hinting something, or that's the effort that he has taken
It's the mating call.
in a way, definitely.
I just want to say that if you are what you eat, I am a pizza and a very good one. What happens when one partner is a mindful eater and the other is a binge eater?
Therefore, definitely it will affect your sexual performance.
Hi, you've stepped into the pleasure principle, where intimacy can get a little wild, but also very, very educating. Today, we're going to talk about whether what you eat affects the way you feel. Let's welcome Dr. Mansi to the show. Dr. Mansi, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thank you, Jyotika.
I want to start by asking you, is it true or not that the food that we eat affects our performance in the sheets?
Well, the food that we eat does not directly link to the performance in the sheets, but it is definitely responsible for your overall health. If you're not eating nutritious food, if you're not eating wholesome foods, there are going to be certain hormonal changes in your body. It can be associated with certain deficiencies in your body, which will definitely impact your overall health along with your sexual performance. So definitely food is connected to your sexual well-being, but it's also connected more to your overall well-being along with sexual well-being.
For once and for all, discuss whether strawberry and chocolates, oysters, do they impact your sexual health?
They do, but then not directly physically. So as to say that it's not that if you're going to eat strawberries, you're going to feel more aroused or more passionate.
Pineapple.
Pineapple is also one, definitely. But what happens is that if your partner is taking that effort, or if you see that, this is something that you are doing for your partner, it signals more interest, it signals more effort towards a relationship, and it builds the foundation for a fun and a happy relationship. So that is how it definitely affects. So if if my partner is putting out strawberries and chocolates, I know he's in the mood for something, or he's kind of indicating or hinting something, or that's the effort that he has taken
It's the mating call.
in a way, definitely. So yes, it does affect, but it affects your mood more, it affects your connection with your partner more, rather than physically impacting your sexual performance.
Okay, so let's turn this around. Can poor eating habits impact your sexual health?
Absolutely. So, if you're not eating well, let's say if you're eating a carb-rich diet, that's sometimes going to give you a sugar crash. It might lead to long-term insulin resistance, a long-term, hormonal change that occurs in your body, which is going to affect a lot of things. So, first and foremost, it might affect your weight, it might affect your skin, it might affect the way you feel about yourself, and that's why your self-image will get affected, and that's why your self-confidence, and there goes the intimacy levels. On the other end, it's also going to affect your interaction with your partner. If you're having low energy levels, if you're not feeling in the mood all the time because you're having a sugar crash, then even if your partner's initiating something, it's not going to be as fun. So that is why, when we say that you are what you eat in a way. So when you are eating something healthy, when you're eating wholesome diet, it affects your performance in all ways, including your sexual performance.
Right. I just want to say that if you are what you eat, I am a pizza and a very good one. But moving on, I just want to understand if, there is so much about gut health on social media now. There are ample number of experts and some genuine experts as well talking about it. There are so many products that we come across. So does gut health also connect to sexual wellness?
Gut health is connected to your overall well-being, and therefore definitely it will affect your sexual performance. If you're not taking care of what you're eating, if your gut health is not good, then it's kind of going to affect your hormonal changes in the body. It's going to cause a lot of energy level fluctuations. It could lead to mood changes. Gut microbiota is now connected to having mood and anxiety issues. So if that's not healthy, definitely your libido is going to get affected. Right. But again, there is no direct connection, but in general to your overall health, that gets connected with your gut microbiota.
Right. And like you mentioned before, there's really no connection between having oysters or chocolate or chillies and performing better in the bed. There is none. Is there any food that sort of helps in that case?
So I think, there is a lot of Ayurvedic products that we hear about, about ashwagandha, shilajit and all of those, but I don't think there is any strong evidence which supports. But again, most of these are antioxidants or, omega-3 fatty acids. So generally good nutrients, what you would be lacking otherwise if you're not eating a wholesome diet. That can definitely impact your sexual performance. So I think the baseline would be to eat a wholesome diet, what is seasonally available, less processed food, taking care of yourself better. That kind of, takes care of your overall health and definitely improves your fertility and intimacy and passion.
And are there any foods that we should include in our regular diet to regulate hormones and live a better life sexually?
I think it's different for men and women what you would include. In women, flax seeds have been known to kind of, or seed cycling, which people with PCOS, women with PCOS would follow. That kind of improves your hormonal health. There's also spearmint tea, which is known to kind of promote your hormonal health. But that's if you're targeting a specific disorder, right? Otherwise, in general, I think seasonal vegetables and fruits, less processed food is something that we usually advise to improve your health.
When you're talking about the regular diet, is there a difference between eating a healthy meal and eating a meal which is good for an erotic life?
But I don't think so. There is, usually the same thing. If you're eating well, you're taking care of your overall health, it is going to promote your, sexual well-being.
And how can food be used? Of course, some people also use it in the bedroom, but in the bedroom and outside, how can food be used to make life more interesting?
So understand that food is, transcended the basic concept of providing nourishment. It has become a pleasure providing substance for most of us. So when you are looking at food, look at what your partner likes, what your partner dislikes. Food can also lead to opportunities of shared activities. So, if you're shopping together or for food, or if you're kind of cooking together, that can give you a sense of intimacy, that can improve your bonding with your partner. That's why so much of dating culture revolves around meals, right? You go out on a date for either coffee or for a meal most often than not. So that tells you that a shared activity leads to a shared memory, which kind of then gives you an entryway into the person's intimate space, and that's how it improves your emotional and sexual well-being.
Right. You mentioned going out and eating together or getting a cup of coffee. Also cooking together.
Yes.
It's such an important part of the dating culture, and it's such a bonding exercise.
It is a bonding exercise.
Your thoughts on that and how it helps partners bond?
Absolutely. Cooking is a wonderful activity to explore your relationship with your partner, right? It's like, even before cooking, buying ingredients can also be such a fun activity to do together if you both like cooking. And even if you don't, it gives you an opportunity to expand your comfort zone, to allow the other person into your comfort zone, and also kind of, enter into the other person's intimate space. Cooking also sometimes brings out the differences between the couple, right? One is very meticulous while cooking, the other one is not that meticulous and is slightly messy. But then that tells you that, okay, this is something that you're going to have to deal with, or, how do you navigate that space? So it's like a sign of conflict arising and how you resolve it in that relationship. So cooking is definitely a fun activity. It leads to a lot of shared moments and memories that can be very effective in the long term to build up the emotional intimacy between a couple.
Right. And talking of differences, partners often have, I don't know why, but God always puts together one foodie and the other person who likes to eat only home cooked food. And then obviously who's the person who's the foodie in the relationship will have weight issues, will have body image issues because of that. So how to go about that? How to go about managing your partner's issues of body image and weight because of eating habits?
Well, I think that's something that they have to deal with on their own. A lot of times partners have different eating preferences, right? Be it in terms of food choices, be it in terms of the timings or anything else. So like you said, outside food or home cooked food, that can be one difference. It's more important to not be critical whenever your partner's choice differs from your own, right? You can definitely express your concern that this is something that worries me or this is something that I find worrisome, but that need not necessarily mean that your partner is actually going to kind of, go and change that unless they find their own motivation to do that and change that, which more often than not does come with compassionate conversations, So when you're expressing your concern, your partner is more likely to be receptive to that suggestion rather than when you're criticizing. So having a non-judgmental approach, being non-critical about the differences and having a conversation and sometimes finding a middle ground. So if you have a spouse who's foodie and who likes to eat outside food, maybe learning a new cuisine that you can cook together, which is, also home cooked and can be something like an outside meal. So something like that.
And what is it that one can do on an individual level to be a little more mindful about what they're eating, what they're consuming through the day?
So I think you need to improve your relationship with food. Many a times we indulge in, emotional eating, where food is not a source of nourishment, it becomes more a source of comfort. All of us are guilty of that at some point or the other, right? So improving your relationship with food is something that's very important. Secondly would be to kind of have healthier coping mechanisms. So most of us are going through a stressful period in life or are finding our daily lives very stressful, and that's when we tend to indulge in comfort eating. So asking, that what is it that I am feeling and what is it that I can do to make myself feel better in this situation, and what other than food can I use, which is a better, healthier alternative to kind of, cope with the problems that I am going through. That is something very important. If you are struggling with an eating disorder, right, where, it's, surpassed the bounds of comfort eating or emotional eating, and this is something that's significantly harming your health, then it's, good to look for professional help that can help you deal with the circumstances and the situation.
What happens when one partner is a mindful eater and the other is a binge eater?
Yeah, so this, is very much like having differences in food preferences. When one partner is a mindful eater, it might signify that they are trying to kind of have a healthier lifestyle in general, because mindful eating is a part of, in general, healthier lifestyle. But if I have a partner, or if I myself am a binge eater or an emotional eater, that might be signifying some emotions that I have not processed enough, certain emotional problems that I am dealing with, which I am not bringing to the surface or coping so well with, right? So if as a partner you were to support another partner who is struggling with their eating habits, then that's, to have a compassionate conversation and let them know that this is a point of concern and you are there to help them through that journey. The journey will be their own, but having a supportive partner definitely makes it much more easier to go through it.
So what, according to you, are the top 3 things that couples should do to talk about their eating habits without shaming each other and reaching a meaningful conclusion?
I think asking questions is very important, asking your partner that, okay, I noticed this, why is it that this happens, instead of assuming. So let's say if I look at my partner and I see them, that they're trying to restrict their food, which I don't think is a healthy eating habit. I would want to ask, and what is making you restrict your food? Or let's say I see them diverting more towards, unhealthy food or junk food, and then asking that, okay, what is it that's making you do this? So the first question would be a compassionate inquiry as to what's happening. Second thing will be to kind of, give your emotional perspective on that, okay, what, I worry when I see you eat like this, or this is what I am concerned about. What can I do to help this, right? So it would be your perspective along with asking them for, the kind of help that they require. So you might offer certain situations or solutions, but that's not something that's acceptable to them. So the second thing would be to just express yourself and ask for what help they require. And third would be to definitely be non-judgmental, non-critical when you are, providing this feedback and understanding that it's not about you, it's their journey. And even though it's difficult for you to see your partner go through that, more often than not, you being compassionate is going to lead to better outcomes in your partner's journey, definitely.
Right. And the one thing that never ever works is making a menu, because the moment you make a menu, you know what to expect. And at least for somebody like me, I'm like, oh, Rajma and rice today doesn't sound so appealing. I think we should have pasta. But
yes.
I think it works for some people.
Yes, so some, like we said, right, that cooking and food brings out the individual differences between the couple as well. So some people like that stability. They need to have their menu set for the whole week so that there is no mental work, especially if one partner is taking care of the mental load more than the other in the relationship. So of cooking, of doing the grocery shopping, of, preparing or asking the cook what to prepare. So some people might find it comforting to have a menu. Others might say that, that this is something that bores me if I already know what I'm going to eat and I like surprises. So we can always have a mix and match of this element, right? That we give ourselves a leeway that, okay, what, certain items we might, order on the spur of the moment or make it on the spur of the moment if time and energy allows, to add that, variation, to add that spark. Well, we can, whereas in the background, we can also have some stability by having a fixed menu.
Right. So while aphrodisiacs do work, it's only because you make an effort, and it's not really the food or the lighting or maybe what you're wearing that's an aphrodisiac. It's just the fact that you thought about making an effort. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansi. Yet another insightful and very, very helpful episode. That's it for today. If you have any questions, do let us know in the comments section, or you can reach out to us on 9833-943-943. That's our WhatsApp number. Send in your questions. Don't forget to share this episode with your foodie friends like me who like to eat more because they think happiness depends on food. It does not. Trust me. There's so much more to life. We'll see you next week with another great episode only on The Pleasure Principle.
94.3 Radio 1.